Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for The Promised Neverland, Episode 4. When we last left off, our trio of heroes, question mark, put into question by the end of this episode, continue their plotting against, Isabella and Crone, who had just shown up and complicates their plans. And then they realize that there might be an informant in their group. And that's where this episode kicks off. But first, we have a bit more time with Isabella and Crone, as we learn that Isabella is, completely on to all of Crone's games. She knows exactly what Crone wants. Crone wants to, throw Isabella under the bus so that Crone can become a mom. And that just makes Crone even angrier. But that's really all we get. We get a little bit more of Crone scheming with Gilda later on. I'll touch on that in a bit. But then we move right on into the main plot, and that is the spy. And, for the first half of the episode, which is definitely the weaker half this week, not because it was bad, because, the back half, which is so incredible. But it's kind of weird how untense the whole spy plot is at the beginning of the episode. Emma's making gags or Emma and Norman are making gags about the spy. That Norman mentions for a bit, hey, what if Phil's the spy? And Emma has a gag face from that, like a joke face. It's a weird thing. I don't know if it undercuts the tension or if it allows for a necessary reprieve from the tension. In the aftermath, I wrote that note before I finished the episode, and in the aftermath of the back half, I think it's a nice reprieve from the utterly tense back half of the episode. But it's weird all the same. I do like Norman pointing out that waiting the original plan to wait closer to the 2-month mark before they leave is just exactly what Isabella expects them to do, so they need to leave earlier. But also good on Ray for pointing out that's just going to make things harder for them, though. Given the end of the episode reveal, who knows what's gonna happen with that now? All of these notes that I have thinking Ray as a good guy, or just another part of the team, I don't know anymore after what happened. I think Norman's right. I think Ray's the spy. I'm gonna get that out there. I'm gonna explain my reasoning. I'm going to explain what I think Norman's plot was once I get to the end of the video. Just a reminder, I've not read the manga. If you've read the manga, shut up. I don't want to know. Don't comment it. Comment it somewhere else. I do not want to know. Whatsoever. But anyway, then we get this long POV shot as we see completely in someone's field of vision as their long trek up the stairs. It's a really well done shot. First of all, you can even see, the POV shift as their head moves. It's incredible. Their head, moves, the casual moving back and forth that you do when you move. Also, you're just not entirely sure whose POV you're watching from. There's this delicious air of tension where you're not sure if you're, watching the spy going to talk to Isabella, or Isabella going to spy on the kids, or Emma going to talk to Don and Gilda. Forgot to mention this, the gangs decided to let Don and Gilda in on their plot, just in case one of them's the spy, so they know everything. But anyway, we find out that it is Emma. Emma, along with Ray and Norman, who have gone to tell Don and Gilda about what's going on. Interestingly, they don't tell them the truth. Instead of saying they've been eaten by demons, they're actually, they've just been sold to a bad place in human trafficking. Though there are... This episode and last week too is filled with red herrings, all pointing towards Gilda. And it does make it a little disappointing. We find out that she's not the spy, though. For all we know, she's still in Isabella's pocket. We don't know. We know that she's not working for Crone. But for all we know, it could be because she's also working for Isabella, but we don't know. But last week I was convinced that Gilda is the spy. But after she broke down, when Dawn doubts Emma and Gilda breaks down, Emma loves the house and she loves Mom. She'd never do this. She'd never tell a mean joke about this. That was the first point where I was I don't think she's the spy, or she might just be a really good actor. But then she wakes up in the middle of the night. and we see her leave, and Emma follows her. And then, before all this happened, Norman told Ray that he was going to tell Don that the rope was hidden under his bed, and Gilda that it was hidden above a ceiling tile in the second floor bathroom. Um, and so you see you see Gilda going up to a door that you assume is Isabella's. Then Isabella gets a note that says "Rope Norman bed," and you're like, "Oh shit, Dawn is the spy." Meanwhile, Crone wants Gilda to spy for her. And you spend most of the rest of the episode thinking that Dawn is the spy, up until Norman's gigantic last line. Before I get to that, though, one more thing I want to talk about. Ray and Norman at this point, I'm pretty sure, fully suspects Ray to be the spy. Talked about what they do, or why someone would betray them. And I think don't remember who asks that. I think Ray asks that, which is interesting given that he's the spy. Probably the spy. He's probably the spy. I'm pretty convinced he's the spy. And then Norman responds, I think it's because they want to not get eaten. Or it might be the other way around. I'm not sure. It makes a bit more sense if it's Norman asking Ray, and like there's an extra layer there of him asking Ray, why did you do this? And then Ray gives an answer. But someone who remembers it more than I do in this moment, feel free to correct who says what. I like it if it was Norman who asked the question. It adds an extra layer to it that's really fucking nice. But I don't know. Anyway, when Norman goes to ask Emma what he would do if the spy was being forced to in exchange for their life, Emma secures her place in the Shonen Jump pantheon of protagonists by refusing to follow the wishes of the traitor and saying that she would take the traitor with her if he wanted to stay behind and live with the demons, because there's no way that to know what would happen if the kids all escape, which is very Naruto and Sasuke of her. Honestly, given that Ray is the spy, probably the spy. Again, I do not know, but I'm fairly convinced Ray's the spy. I'm about to explain why. No, Emma very much has a kind of a Naruto vibe, and Ray kind of has a Sasuke vibe. They don't have the Naruto and Sasuke relationship vibe, but like they do have the vibes of the individual characters a little bit. So like the comparison to Naruto refusing Sasuke's wishes to go to Orochimaru, and Emma potentially refusing Ray's wishes to stay at the Grace Fieldhouse, the parallels are there. But anyway, now it's time to move on to Ray's the spy. What was Norman's game? Here's my theory on what Norman's game was. He did not tell Dawn or Gilda about the rope at all. He only told Ray that he told Dawn and Gilda about the rope. So that when one of the ropes went missing, the only one who could have said that was Ray. That's my theory. If I'm wrong, don't tell me. If I'm right, also don't tell me. But that's my theory for what Norman did. But yeah, Norman's just a clever bastard. I love him. Also, I mentioned, I think a complaint I had last week, I want to say, or I think it was last week, yeah. Where Isabella told Crone that she knew 2 of the kids were in on it. And I said that she clearly knows that it's Emma and Norman. But why would she not presume that they'd already told Ray? And it's because she knows they already told Ray, and Ray was in on it. Ray is the spy. There is no way around the fact that Ray is the spy. I wish I had figured it out earlier so I could actually sound impressive by saying Ray is the spy, but Ray is the spy. He has to be the spy. So yeah, that's the end of the episode. So while the first half of this episode was kind of slow, I admit, once the gang let Dawn and Gilda into the plot, it was just a twist-a-minute thrill ride. From like the constant jumping around of like, who's the spy? Is it Dawn? Is it Gilda? Is it Dawn? To the reveal that the spy was Ray, who we least expected. The back half was superb. Admittedly, I'm a little miffed at the trio's inability to keep their mouth shut about the plan last week, was met with 0 consequences, because Gilda was in earshot of Emma, like, just talking about evil people and being eaten, when she checked up on Carol. Gilda not being involved in anything kind of means they got off scot-free from that. Also, it wasted all the time the camera spent, like, ominously looking at Gilda in this episode and the last. Unless she's also in Isabella's pocket, as I mentioned. I have heard, though, a lot of my problems with last week came from, a choice of adaptation, where the manga spent a lot of time in inner monologue. The anime actually voiced it out loud, so that would be why Gilda would not be the spy, or Gilda would not have heard there in the manga, but I don't know, I've not read the manga. Anyway, the game is up, and Ray has been caught. So next time, Norman confronts Ray. That's all I have for this week's video. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like, or subscribe, or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!